Well, we have Chip with us for this one. Yeah, you. We'll see how long he sticks around. But we have Chip. Yes, you're very cute. Yes, there you go. You're very cute. You have a cute Chip. So we have Chip with us. He's a silly boy. He's a silly boy who is just very itchy. Well, if you would take your medicine, you wouldn't be so itchy. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get going on what this video is. This is another one of the cover page discussion series that I'm doing, where I'm going through and discussing the various cover page series that we've had in One Piece. This is number 3. This is Jango's Dance Paradise. Third cover page story that Oda did. You literally just got in here. Are you trying to get out of the room already? Okay, no more Chip for this video unless he decides to come back in. I don't know if that'll happen. We'll find out. This one is about 37 installments, just roughly the length of most of them. And it runs from chapter 126 through 172. And this one is one of the ones, most of them were not animated. So this one was not animated. Essentially what happens is, in the anime, you go from leaving Syrup Village, and that's like the last time that you see Jango. And then you see him again later on as a Marine alongside Full Body in Alabasta, and you're like, wait a second, how the F did that happen? Wait a second, that's Jango. What happened here? Why? That's Full Body. What happened? So it's like, if you're not familiar with what's happening in the manga at that point in time, you're like, wait a second, where did these two idiots come from? And how are they friends? Well, this will explain it to you. It was, however, kind of animated, not in any of the series, but in like a side thing that they did. So, there is a One Piece featurette, Jango's Dance Carnival, where the Straw Hats end up visiting Disco Ball Island, which Disco Ball Island is only shown in the cover page series for this one. And in this little featurette, the Straw Hats end up on there, and Jango ends up hypnotizing the entire island into dancing because reasons, and it just results in like dancing and everything else like that. So that's about it. That's like the only semi version of this that gets animated because reasons. So yeah, the short summary of this is that after the Black Cat pirates are defeated and they abandon Jango on Syrup Village, he ends up going on his own adventures, which leads him to meeting Full Body and other stuff, and then eventually he joins the Marines because of a pretty girl. So, let's get going. So, the longer summary of this is He Awakens, Volume 1, He Awakens. This just essentially is Jango waking up in the outskirts of Syrup Village after he has, this is after he got defeated, in the actual arc. He gets knocked out, and now he's waking up on the outskirts of the village. Yeah, and he's just like, what happened? Volume 2. First, know your place. So he runs to the coast hoping that the Black Cat ship will still be there and he can try to get on the ship and sail away with them. That's not happening. The ship has already started sailing off. Benson Black has already started sailing off onto the horizon, leaving Jango there. And he's just, I've been abandoned. Now, Kuro is on the ship. This is technically, I guess, kind of the last time that we end up seeing Kuro, or at least a reference to Kuro. Minus one random cover page that doesn't actually explain anything about where Kuro currently is in the story. Kuro is sailing away on the pirate ship. That is the last we see of him. And Jango is now abandoned on Syrup Village in the Gecko Islands. Volume 3. The Onion appears. So, Jango, now left on his own, wanders into Syrup Village, trying to get a hot meal. Which, given the fact that he's not a super recognizable pirate, and the citizens of Syrup Village didn't even believe Usopp when he said that the pirates were coming, that the Black Cat pirates were coming, and that Kuro was a pirate and all of that stuff. Him just wandering into town, I'm like, it makes a fair amount of sense that he'd be able to pull that off without anybody seeing him. And he ends up getting spotted by Tamanagi, or Onion, the little veggie pirates that Usopp hangs out with. He gets spotted by them. So, what ends up happening is, Jango goes into the village. He ends up getting spotted by Onion, by Tamanagi. Sorry if I mispronounced that. One of the little veggie pirates that would hang out with Usopp and is aware of who Jango is because he saw Jango earlier on during the Syrup Village arc. Then we get Volume 4, Pursuit, Usopp's Security Force. So, Tamanagi, Ninjin, and Pimin, the three little veggie pirates, chase Jango out of Syrup Village. And that's just funny. He was like, dude, you are a grown-ass man who is a pirate, and you are terrified of 3 small children. This also just goes along with the fact that, the 3 little pirates, the 3 little veggie pirates, had wanted to help protect Kaya and help protect the town, even though Usopp isn't there anymore. They still want to do that. And we see that they keep up with that. We see that the 3 of them do continue to keep up with that. We saw them very recently in the anime during Vegapunk's message, where they are still very much hanging out with Kaya and Mary and everything like that. So, and we've seen them periodically. I think we'll see them in another cover page series from one of the Decks of the World, one or at least 1 or 2 of those down the line. So, then we have Getaway Dance. So, Jango ends up finding just one of the random rowboats and ends up escaping on that. So he can get away from his pint-sized pursuers, as, they're still cursing him from the island shore as they're, throwing rocks at him or something to get him to go away. So, we get through that. That's number 5. 6, A Fateful Passing. So, Jango is in his boat, and he's sailing along, fell asleep in the boat, completely unaware of another boat that is going by him, and holding a fellow fugitive, Morgan, also asleep, passing by. The whole thing that is very interesting about that is just a bit, 2 ships passing in the middle of broad daylight as neither person is awake. I was like, I would not fall asleep on just some random ship in the middle, some random little boat. I wouldn't do that. Hey, I'd burn like a pancake. But also just know who's paying attention to where I'm going. I'm certainly not. So what ends up happening, the fun bit about this is that, of course, we as the readers and the watchers know that Jango is kind of one of the ones responsible for Morgan being in this position anyway, because, several years ago, Morgan fought against the Black Cat pirates, and he got captured and kind of beaten up by Kuro, who just kind of kicked his butt. And then Kuro, in an attempt to try to, free himself of this pirate life, had Jango and had Jango hypnotize one of the other Marines who looked enough like Kuro into saying that he was Captain Kuro, and then hypnotized Morgan into believing that he had defeated Captain Kuro, and then taking Captain Kuro in to have him be arrested, we're gonna go with. And what ends up happening, and like that led to Morgan, of course, getting on his, his high horse and his overinflated ego and everything else like that. That leads into what happens in Shellstown. And then, of course, that also leads into, since Kuro is now free, he could go, and he ends up going and hiding on Syrup Village and pretending to be Clawhador and all of that stuff for Kaya's family. So we have those connections there. So these two are very responsible for things that have happened to each other. Then we have a little just outside issue report that is, Kaya is now a doctor's apprentice and doing fine. So we cut back to Syrup Village for just a short thing where we see Kaya is, on her way to go start her training as a doctor's apprentice. Because we know that is something she decided she wanted to do. She wanted to become a doctor. Her training with Usopp would have been really nice. Kaya is one of the ones that I could see very much trying to become a therapist, to stick with my other side thing that I like for that. So from there, we have Volume 8. The East Blue's most popular destination, Mirror Ball Island, or Disco Ball Island, depending on which way you want to put it, but Mirror Ball Island. And Jango arrives at Mirror Ball Island, famous for its dense culture, which is just disco all over the dang place. Disco and party music and all of that stuff. Disco didn't die. Disco went and set up its own island in the One Piece world is what happened there. So this is where we get like kind of the one animated setup of this, where we have Django's Dance Carnival, which is like the short that's coupled with Toei, with the second animated One Piece movie from Toei, Clockwork Island Adventure. And it just mainly showcases the song Ready by Folder 5, who had previously done Believe, which was the second, was the anime's second opening. So there's kind of like connection there. It's just like this fun little dance video and stuff like that. However, Mirror Ball Island did get referenced in the live action, which I like that they throw this in here. So in the live action, Zoro mentions Mirror Ball Island when he's questioning where he's met Clawhador before, which just leads into a lot of funny memes, because it's like Zoro mentioning something about like a club on Mirror Ball Island, and then like in the funny comics that people have done as Clawhador, and like, I've never been in a gay club in my life, and then it's just like, I never said it was a gay club type of a thing. So it's just like funny bits there. So I like that the live action referenced that, so we get like a nice little, continuity thing there. Nice to know Mirror Ball Island exists in the live action One Piece world as well. From there, we have Volume 9. The Marines! So, to his horror, Jango finds that the Marines have already tracked him to Mirror Ball Island. I guess maybe this is a popular destination for him. I don't know. And they're showing his wanted posters to the locals. This is where we get what Kuro's bounty is. And Kuro's bounty is 9 million. Now, I believe Arlong's bounty was like 30 million, so it's like, it's not bad. I believe Django's, was more than Alvida's, and not as much as Kuro's, but still decent. And of course, like, because Luffy's first bounty is like 30 million. So it's like, he's still, yeah. But we get Django's bounty and his bounty poster. And then we have number 10, necessary for disguise. 5 seconds before Django's true face. So this is where we have like Jango is preparing to take off his heart-shaped glasses. And it's just like his trademark glasses. What kind of eyes will he have? What eyes lie beneath those sunglasses? And then we have Volume 11, Eyes with Heart. And it's just like Jango takes off his sunglasses, and it's just like his eyes are literally heart-shaped, which I'm just like, why and ow and how? Why, ow, and how is like my thought there. Why are your eyes like this? I know it's just a gag from Oda for heart eyes, but it's just like, ugh, no, don't do that. So then we have 12. Jango in disguise finds a dance contest. So Jango has managed to replace his old clothes, including his sunglasses. Pretty sure he just straight up robbed someone. And now he's headed out looking around Mirabelle Island, and he ends up finding this famous dance contest. That's the Mirabelle Island's famous dance contest. So he finds his way there, and he we get to volume 13. Jango thoughtlessly enters the dance contest. Yes, dude, you are wanted, and there are Marines all over this island. Let's get up on stage and make a spectacle of yourself and hope nobody pays attention to you. And be like, you know what, that guy, maybe he does kind of match this wanted poster. And it's just like, against his better judgment and self-preservation, Jango enters the dance contest. And then everybody just gets down and starts dancing and partying and all of that stuff, which is just funny. And then we have 14. Daring Dance Contest Finals. And then we have, as the dance-off approaches its finale, Jango finds himself facing a worthy opponent wearing a very familiar set of brass knuckles. So this is Full Body here, who is the Marine that the Straw Hats interacted with during Baratier that Sanji beat up after Full Body dissed their food and was a horrible date and all of that. Full Body kind of gets referenced in the live action. He is there. Jango isn't even in the live action. They don't even have Jango in the live action. Kuro's there in the live action, but they don't have Jango. They have like the two Cat brothers as like the butler and the maid. They gender swap the one that's the maid, but they don't have Jango. They don't have Jango in the live action. Kind of hoping he pops up at some other point in time just for fun. I think we see his wanted poster at some point in time, but so yeah. The finales, the finals of the dance contest are going to happen, and it's down to like Jango and Full Body. And then it's just like 15, a totally cinematic dance contest, or climactic dance contest. And it's just like Jango and his opponents dance themselves into a dead heat, driving all of the contest spectators, even the Marines, completely wild. It's like, how good of dancing are they doing to this? Like, is it just like everything is on point? Are they hitting 100% on Dance Dance Revolution? Is that what's happening here? Because that would just be funny. So like just them, like just like they're so good, they're so evenly matched. Everybody, including the Marines, there is just like, oh my god, this is amazing type of a thing. And then 16, the dancing champion. And Jango's efforts win him the dance-off grand prize. After all, taking second place in utmost grace is his worthy opponent, Lieutenant Full Body. So it's revealed that it is Full Body, who is Jango's opponent during this dance contest. I can hear his clicking claws in the hallway. I can hear Chip's clicking claws in the hallway. Yes, I know, you're Chipper Chip. You can stay right there, I'll pet you. So, Chip is over here and I'm petting him now. So, essentially what ends up happening is, of course, Jango wins the dance contest, and Full Body is just a very gracious loser. I don't know if that was, like, beat into him by Sanji, but we'll see if anything else happens like that. Volume 17, Kindred Souls After the Battle. So we have Jango and Full Body, and they have bonded over their mutual love of dance, sharing a drink together. So they're off at whatever bar or whatever club, and they're just sharing a drink. Now that they are now bonded through dance. And then we have 18, Discovery, Jango, the Pirate's Clothes. So several of the junior Marines end up finding Jango's discarded clothes and pass them to Full Body for inspection. So they found a bunch of the discarded clothes. They're like, he must be in hiding somewhere around this island. So we have to keep a very close eye out. And Jango is trying to hide his surprise. Poorly. Number 19. Search for the pirate Jango. As the junior Marines resume their manhunt, a nonplussed Jango confirms that Full Body is in fact a Marine lieutenant. It's like, oh, this guy that I just had this really great dance contest with and have kind of bonded with, oh no, he's a Marine. That's not good. That's not going to go well for me. So Jango's just like, okay, how can I work my way out of this one? And then we have 20. Captain Urakai and the Tulip pirate crew attacks. So they're just attacked by the Tulip pirates. I guess. I mean, Tulip pirate sounds about as threatening as like the Straw Hat pirates or something like that. They're just one-off pirates that just get beaten up pretty quickly. But then we get to Lucky 21. Lucky, Jango escapes. So as Marines rush to put down those pirates, Jango flees with all of Mirabal Island's panicking civilians. So he's trying to get out of the way and get away and all of that stuff. Well, Full Body is doing his job and going to try to take down the pirates. 22. The power of a Marine headquarters lieutenant. And Full Body goes into action, crushing the Tulip pirates almost single-handedly. He just takes them out pretty single-handedly, which kind of shows you how weak these guys are, because Full Body, at this point in time, is not a strong character because he was beaten by, like, Introduction Sanji. So, no, this version of Full Body is not that strong, and these pirates are not that strong. But Full Body takes care of them pretty handily, so taken care of. 23. See you later, stupid Marines. So, Jango, having found another random boat off, Mirabal Island, Jango throws a parting taunt at all the Marines that remain ignorant of his real identity. So that's happening. He goes like, ha 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 ha, I am escaping. They'll never catch me now. And then we get 24, Hostage Girl. To Full Body's dismay, the Tulip pirates take a female civilian hostage. It's a Chip. Hi, Chipper. What you doing up here? I came to look out this window. And then probably to bug you. So, yeah, there's this random citizen that gets captured and is being used as a hostage by the Tulip pirates, unfortunately. And then we have 25, the brittle thing called Justice, and it's unwilling to endanger the Tulip pirates hostage. Full Body can do nothing but take a beating from their captain. So, okay, this is kind of one of those moments where we do kind of see a bit more of like, no, Full Body was a jerk when he's first introduced, when we first see him interacting at the Baratier with Sanji and all of that stuff. He is a jerk there. Then he gets beaten up by Sanji in the anime. I think he has like another interaction with the Straw Hats. He's part of the ones who have Geen and stuff like that. Geen in their in their captive, as a captive for them and everything. During everything that happens with Baratier, I think in the anime they interact with Full Body interacts with the Straw Hats one other time and gets just very easily defeated by them. And then, assumedly, in canon, what has happened is he's kind of had like his ego beat out of him to the point where he's actually going to try to be better a little bit, which we kind of see here. He is willing to let himself be beaten up so this girl doesn't get hurt. And I'm like, okay, Full Body, you get a bit more respect for that. You weren't the best one when you first showed up, but you've grown. Very much for the same way that we see with like Helmeppo. Is like, he is not a fun character when he first shows up. He is arrogant and all of that stuff and entitled, and that he changes throughout the course of the Kobe Meppo cover page story. And then, of course, we've seen him still continue to change throughout the course of the rest of the manga and the anime. And here we're going to see that type of thing happen in regards to Full Body and Jango because of what happened here. So, Full Body is allowing himself to be beaten up so the hostage is not hurt, so the girl is not hurt. Good job. A lot of other Marines that we have seen in the story would have just been like, I don't care, hurt the girl. If I care, I'm here to get you. Is, the way that some other Marines that we've seen throughout the story would behave. But that's not the way that Full Body is doing it right now. Then we have 26, the man who came back. And it's just like, to everyone's shock, Jango has returned to Mirabel Island in his pirate clothes, no less. So he got his clothes back from the Marines and has changed back into them. And it's just like his first act, to free the Tulip Pirate hostage. Tulip Pirate's hostage. So Jango is back, has his pirate clothes back on. Gotta admit, I kind of like his coat. And then he ends up, he's like, I'm going to free this girl. So he's there to help Full Body because Full Body is now his friend, his brother in bonded dance, and is doing that. Then we have 27, Shall We Dance? And then it's just like, back-to-back, Jango and Full Body beat down the Tulip Pirates. So they freed the girl. Jango freed the girl. She's managed to get away. And then now it's Jango and Full Body fighting side by side as they defeat the pirates, which is just so fun. Or back-to-back. 28, Two Dancing Heroes, baby. And then it's just like Jango and Full Body strike a victory pose over the vanquished Tulip Pirates. A huge crowd of civilians cheering them on. Woohoo! Beep. I beeped Chip. Then we have 29, Friendship, Crime, and Duty. And it's like, despite everything, Jango is still a pirate himself, and Full Body, resigned to his duty, arrests his new ally. The heart-wrenching. I mean, like, at the time, I guess maybe you're like, I wonder what's going to happen to Jango. And then it's just like, now it's like, well, I know what happens to Jango at this point in time. But it's like, it's like, as they're coming out, or if you've never read the manga, or you haven't read, you haven't seen the anime before, you're like, I don't know what happens. And then it's just like, yeah, right. Jango just randomly turns up and he's a Marine now when you see him again in the anime. So that's going on. So Jango is now being arrested by Full Body, much to Full Body's dismay. And he's just like, I have a sworn duty that I must uphold. I mean, we look at, like, what we know of Jango from his past, from what we know because of Kuro. And it's like, he was a member of the Black Cat Pirates. He was the temporary captain of the Black Cat Pirates when, when Kuro was being Clawhador. And, Jango was more than ready to, he hypnotized Morgan, and he hypnotized the one Marine to make him think that he was Kuro and all of that stuff. And then, we have it that, so he did a lot of that stuff, which led to, at the very least, that, the fake Kuro being imprisoned, if not executed, unfortunately. And, Morgan causing all of those problems in Shellstown are partly because of Kuro, partly because of Jango. And then we also have it that, Jango was more than ready to, hypnotize Kaya into signing away all of her family's wealth to Clawhador, and then knowing full well that that Kuro's intention was to her afterwards, so that way he could then claim all the money. And then allow the citizens of Syrup Village to be slaughtered. Because that's what was going to happen. That was their plan. And now, Jango, I don't know if he's had a change of heart or if it's just because of Full Body or what, but he's, kind of getting better. So, now we have 30 Marine headquarters, judges, verdict, hang him. So, before a panel of Marine headquarters judges, Jango is sentenced to death for his crimes. I'm like, Given what we know of Jango, shouldn't he just have been like locked up in like level 1 of Impel Down and like that spiky forest hell? Shouldn't he have just been put there because of what his bounty was? Or like, he's not even worth it. Just hang him from a rope. It's like, that's dark. To be fair, I don't know if Oda had Impel Down planned out the way that he did later on in the story at this point in time in the story. Um, so, but, so we have these judges, which is one of the few times we see any type of a judicial system in the One Piece world. We kind of see it with the Just 10 jury or Justice jury that they have in Impel Down, or that they have at Ennis Lobby. So that's like the closest other time that we see anything like that, or even what we see for Tom's trial during Frankie's flashback during it's technically Frankie's flashback that happens in Water 7, but the flashback itself, yeah, that part takes place in Water 7. Yeah, during Water 7. Yeah, because that's before they get on the train, I think. So we have, just the panel of, I think it's like 3 judges, tribunal sentence Jango to that. So it's just like, then we have 31 full bodies, manly, tearful objection, dense. So full body, in an attempt to try to save Jango's life. It's just like, in the nick of time, full body, and his entire squad, his entire squad are part of this, intercede Jango's trial with a heartfelt objection. An interpretive dance, I guess. So I love the fact that it's not just full body, it's also his squad, who saw Jango actually like trying to help them and like, help save the girl and help them help full body defeat the pirates and all of that stuff, and like kind of show up and save full body. So it's like, I can kind of see why they would be helping with this. And then we have 32, get up and dense courtroom. So just like the entire courtroom, judges, spectators, and all of them are just they just get caught up in Jango and full body's dance of friendship, and they're all just like dancing and everything else like that, which I'm just like, again, how good is this dancing? How much is there causing this flash mob to happen? What do you think, Chip? How much energy are they using to cause this flash mob? He's like, I don't know what a flash mob is. Fair. 33. Acquitted by style. Full body demoted. So the judges have been swayed enough that, touched by full body's devotion, the judges have decided to pardon Jango, but at the same time it will cost full body his officer's rank and bump him all the way back down to like seaman recruit or whatever the lowest rank is for, the Marines. And it's just like, okay, given what we now know about like the Gorosei and stuff like that, what does Saint Mercury, the warrior god of justice, know about this trial? What does he know about this trial? Because I don't think he would be particularly happy about it. The giant pig man, does not seem like he would be very partial to like, oh, what is this information about this trial with dancing in the East Blue? Read through it. Dancing? What in the world? Just dancing? Objection with dancing? Just what is going on here? I quit it. Wait, what in the world? Like, just like, to be fair, I don't think this is a trial that like needs to be in Mercury's purview that he needs to be aware of, but I'm like, what would his opinion of it be? I don't think he would be happy with it. A pirate went free. To be fair, said pirate is about to join the Marines and actually be semi-competent in being a Marine and do rather well in the Marines. But it's just like, how in the world are, like, how? Like, just what does Mercury think of this? Because it's just like, why? I don't know. So we have that. I had to bring him up because we now know about Mercury. It's just like, how much information does he have about these trials? To be fair, I don't think it's in his purview to be like, I wish to know every single thing about every single trial that has happened in the One Piece world. No. Number 34. We cannot be friends. So it's just like, as Jango prepares to leave Mirrorball Island. Oh yeah, the trial happened on Mirrorball Island. So I can see why because like these judges probably just want to go and dance after work anyway. If you lived on Mirrorball Island, you'd be like, time to go party almost any day of the week. Your babies would fall asleep to disco music, and that's how they learn. Um, um, disco music as a ballad to put the babies to sleep. I don't know, that'd be funny. So, Full Body, now just a common recruit, comes to see him off, quietly refusing to shake the pirate's hand. It's just like, I know you're a pirate, Jango, and I know I just went through all of that to help you, but I won't shake your hand, but I will say goodbye to you. So, and then we have 35. Might as well use hypnotism to forget this friendship. 1, 2, and it's Jango is hypnotizing Full Body and the other Marines, so that way he can have Full Body forget about him, that forgetting that they ever met and that this ever happened, so that way Full Body gonna be, wait a second, how am I a Marine recruit again? What happened? And why do I feel sad every time I hear disco music? So, and then we have 26. Stop! Love shock! A hot female officer! So this is where we have the introduction of Hina. So Jango and Full Body's tragic farewell comes to a crashing halt when a beautiful female Marine walks by, leaving both men instantly smitten. So this is the introduction of Hina, of Captain Hina. Iron, I think it was like Iron Cage Hina or Black Cage Hina or something like that. So this is where we have her introduced. And they're just like, I'm about to make my new best friend forget our friendship. Ooh, hot lady. We're both in love with her. Type of a thing. Just, oh my god. And then it's just like 37. 2 mop boys buddy dance. So it's just like Jango and Full Body find a happy ending after all as co-recruits under Captain Hina of Marine Headquarters. In the background, another high-ranking officer walks by with his own 2 unlikely recruits. So we have Garp walks by in the background. Garp is apparently on Mirrorball Island now because this is taking place on Mirrorball Island. This is not taking place at Marine Headquarters, at Marineford. That's not where this is taking place. Unless it was they joined, and then now Hina is taking them directly to Marine Headquarters, so that way they can start getting trained. And, like, we see Kobe and Helmeppo and Garp in the background. So, we see that. So that's just, like, a fun way of doing that. Of just showing that. And of course, the where that picks up is like the next time that we see Jango and Full Body in the story is that Jango and Full Body are at Alabasta, and like they're like taking out a bunch of like crocodiles, like little underlings that are like the millions or the billions, taking them out and everything. As they're trying to impress Hina, and we just see them constantly flirting with her, and trying to impress her and all of this stuff. And then I think the next time we see them after that is during Marineford, because they are at Marineford. And I don't think Luffy recognizes either one of them when Luffy is running around trying to save Ace. Fair. They recognize Luffy. But I don't think Luffy recognizes them. Chip, what are you doing? Chip, stop with the itching. We have him on a prescription. We're trying to get the itching better. And then the most recent time that we have seen them, I mean, like, we saw them in, I believe we saw them in Stampede alongside Kobe and Helmeppo and Tashigi and such with, like, Hina and Smoker. I think we saw them in Stampede, which is not canon, but we saw them there. But then I think the most recent time we saw them is during Egghead, when, and I believe we just saw this a little while ago in the anime, when when we're like getting the little flashbacks of like Kobe and Garp, doing the battleship bags, because we have, I believe it's brand new is showing Full Body and Jango um the battleship bags, and they're like, oh my god, what enemy did this? Oh no, it wasn't an enemy, it was Garp. I'm sorry, what now? And the thing is that Jango and Full Body have become quite a bit stronger. I don't remember what their current ranks are in the story, but they've definitely, risen in ranks quite a bit. I believe Full Body is further along in rank than he was prior to meeting Jango when he first interacts with the Straw Hats. So he's definitely gone up, and then Jango has they've both gotten stronger. It's just also the whole question of like, well, I don't know, like that's kind of one of the questions that kind of gets brought up when it comes to the Marines, is just like, well, once the Marines' feet are to the fire, once all this stuff about, the world government and the true history and all of that stuff is like fully revealed to the world, and everything about Eam and all of that stuff, it's like a lot of the Marines are gonna have to make that choice of like, do I stay and serve with the Marines that are allowing all these horrible things to happen, or am I going to, will you stop licking your foot? or which Marines are going to be like, no, this isn't right. This isn't right. This is wrong. We need to protect the civilians of the One Piece world. They're not all pirates are bad. We need to take care. We need to get rid of like, the ones who are actually causing problems, and get rid of like despot rulers and stuff like that. Where needed, and no, the celestial dragon should not be in charge of the world because they are horrible. And it's like that whole question of like, where are certain Marines gonna land? And given the amount of time, to a degree, that we have spent with Jango and Full Body, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up being some of the ones that are part of like the, okay, yeah, no, let's try to be better, a better generation of Marines than the prior generations were. And we'll see how that goes. But that's what we have here. I thank you for that. I thank you for this. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day. I believe the next one is Hachan's Deep Sea Stroll. So we'll get to talk about Hachan, Kami, and Papagoo. So thank you. Bye.